I lied to the BBC television news. On the 22nd of May 2017, there was what I call the Manchester Massacre, when 22 young people lost their lives when a suicide bomber decided to blow up the Manchester Arena. Not only did these 22 people lose their lives, but there was 500 people that were physically injured. And it's estimated there were 1,500 people psychologically injured. And that's just in the arena alone. If you add to that their family and friends and neighbours and school friends, you can get into the thousands. On the bus, on the way to the vigil the following night, I became delusional. I had no money for a taxi, and I'm sitting on the bus with my friend, and he turns to me and he says, "Dov, what could we do to respond to such a horrific event?" He asked me because I'm a trained acute psychotraumatologist. That's a fancy way of saying that I am learned in acute emergency response for psychologically injured people, people who are in psychological shock. So I said to him, on a bus, why don't we open a treatment centre in the centre of Manchester, and I'll train maybe 5, 6, 7 mental health workers in new acute psychological protocols. I'd actually thought of that idea the night before. Minutes following the bombing, I'm sitting in my apartment only a few miles from the arena. And I'm thinking to myself all night, what can I do about this? In the morning, I came up with this idea, and I started to phone round a few people. You see, I'd only been in Manchester a few months. I didn't know very many people, I didn't have any resources, and I certainly didn't have any money. So when I phoned round these few people, basically they hung up the phone on me saying, "I don't have any money for you." I felt embarrassed, shameful, and very, very disappointed. The ironic thing was I wasn't asking anybody for any money. All I was wanting from them were leads and contacts so that I could possibly pull off such an operation. But then my thoughts started to come in and plague me with these thoughts of, you must be mad, Dov. Who are you to think that you can pull off such an ambitious project? And then I started to feel that feeling that you get in your body when you're under super distress. And my emotions began to sink. What do you do when you're in that kind of situation? But you want to go off and do something that's really important for you to do and that you believe will make a contribution. But yet your thoughts, your emotions, and your body are telling you no. Well, fortunately, I went through training which helped me manage such an event when it's going through you. Anyone interested here in learning a little technique that will help you with that? Okay, wonderful. So I call it the 5-to-5 technique. That's just my nickname. The real name for this is vagal breathing. Vagal breathing is a way of breathing that affects the vagal nerve. It's the 10th nerve that comes out of your brain and goes into very, very vital organs in your body, in your heart, your lungs, your gut, even your face and your throat. It's all the organs that are associated with the fight and flight, and this turns it off. Not only does it turn it off, but it will put you into what's called the social engagement safe mode. This is how you do it. Are you ready? So come with me. We're going to use our stomach. So I put my hand on my stomach. We're going to breathe in deeply through our nose for 5 seconds. We're going to hold it in our lungs for 2 seconds. And the active ingredient is actually the breathing out. That we breathe out through our mouths as if we were blowing bubbles for the 5 seconds. I will do the hand signals. That will be in, that will be hold, and that will be out. Here we go. Breathing in. Hold and out. And we begin to feel it. Back in Albert Square, my friend, after the vigil, runs to every news agency and reporter that he can find. He says, see that guy over there, Dov? He's got an answer, a solution to what to do with all these people affected. All of a sudden, these news people started coming around me, and they said, well, what is it? What is it you've got? And I said, I'm going to open a support centre in the middle of Manchester, and I'm going to teach 4, 5, 7 mental health workers in these new protocols. Basically, I created fake news at that moment because I had not a clue how I was going to do this. And I had no money, no resources, and knew nobody. But you know, when you really want to do something, you find a way. And what I know to do best is when I have something of value, when I have something that I know could contribute, I share it. So I started to tell people my idea, and one told another, and one told another, and one told another. And after a few days, I found that I did lie to the BBC, because I didn't train 7 mental health workers. I actually had 70. And within a week of that bombing, we opened that centre in the middle of Manchester, in Tib Street. And we helped support hundreds of people. But that's not the end of the story. That's just the beginning of the story. Because a week later than that, there was a terrorist attack on London Bridge and Borough Market. And I took a freshly trained team, and we went down to London, and we were on the bridge for a full week. Shortly after that, there was the second One Love Ariana Grande concert in Manchester. And we had a beautiful team formed. And so we were the first psychological team, preventative team, that in the whole of Europe that ever serviced a pop concert. And we went one by one to people in the queues who were very nervous because most of them had been at the concert just before that blew up. And unfortunately, a week after that, there was the Grenfell Tower fire, where we managed to send a team in that we freshly trained in London. Now, I don't have all the time to go into all the details, but all the backstories are in this book that I wrote called Mind Over Terror. 3 weeks, because it all happened in 3 weeks, 2 cities, Manchester and London, and 1 mission. Anyone interested in reading a copy of this book? Anyone that wants a free signed copy can come here right now and I'll give them a free signed copy. It's all about opportunity. Do not wait and do it. You like that? You learn. One-to-one coaching with me, 1 hour, premium. Anybody got work in a company or a business that's got a team? Anyone here work in a team? 1 half-price coaching for your team. Okay. So what's next? What's next is about learning from these experiencing and passing it on to people like yourself. So I've created a course called the Triumph Course, which takes you from a place of trauma. Now, we all go through certain traumas. Some traumas is that we've been off work for a certain amount of time and we're thinking getting back into the workforce or getting a new job. Or maybe we have been bullied, like myself, when we were younger, and it kind of affects your confidence. Or maybe, even though I've got 4 degrees, I left school with no education, and it took me a long time until my adulthood that I had the confidence to actually apply for university. So I've created this course, and I'm offering everybody in this room the first discovery part of the course for free next month in Manchester, if you fill in the forms that you have on your seats. So all you need to do is to fill in the form here and give it to Avi at the back, and you will get for that a free telephone coaching call with me as a bonus to next month's session. But the first 5 people that will get to Avi will get a 1-to-1 premium course worth more than £200. at the back. And the next 3 after that will get a half price workshop for their company or their team or their organization that they work for. So that's at Abbey at the back. You know, Charles Darwin taught us an amazing lesson. And his lesson was this: in the history of humankind, those that have come together and collaborated in an innovative and creative way, in the best way that they can, have prevailed. Thank you very much.